Welcome to CBTSport.net Game of the Week. Bringing you high school, college, amateur, semi-pro, and professional sports video from right here in Central Vermont. Over a decade of local Central Vermont sports video action. Get ready, because it's time for the CBTSport.net Game of the Week.
My daddy made this. Daddy!
Spaulding and U32 boys and girls hockey is made possible by the Auto Clinic, quality automotive sales and service, towing and recovery. 929 Southbury Road, 802-476-5379.
At Cody Chevrolet Cadillac, scheduling service for your car has never been easier. Just go to codychevrolet.com and schedule an appointment right from your phone, tablet, or computer. It's super convenient, as is our drive-in, drop-off location. Just pull up, drive in, and one of our friendly service advisors will be there to help. You can wait, or we can set you up with a loaner car and send you on your way. Chevrolet certified service is convenient and easy. At Cody Chevrolet Cadillac. Chevrolet, find new roads.
Spaulding U32 and Harwood hockey are made possible by Keith LaCroix of Edward Jones. Located on One Conti Circle, Suite 2 in Barry, Vermont, 802-479-3190, edwardjones.com. A member SIPC financial advisor, a proud supporter of local high school hockey and athletics on CVTSport.net.
From the Barry BOR, it's high school hockey action on CBTsport.net and CBTV723.org. Jim Severance along with our production crew on a Saturday night. My producer is Michael Deering, and it's Ben Brown on camera. Getting ready for a big Central Vermont matchup. Boys hockey action. Spaulding Crimson Tide taking on the Harwood Highlanders. Records coming into this one. The Crimson Tide are at 7-3-1 overall. They're currently in second place in D1 as far as the index points go. And the Crimson Tide coming off their biggest win of the year. They went up to St. Albans on Wednesday, and they came away with a 6-4 win over BFA St. Albans. In that one, it was a hat trick by Drew LaPrade. Clayton Bell had a goal, and Parker Harrington had a goal. Ethan Fortin with 33 saves as the Crimson Tide that were really dominated by BFA here at the Barry BOR. They go to St. Albans, and they come away with the victory. One of those goals was an empty netter. For Harwood, they are sitting atop D2. In fact, they're tied with the U32 Raiders in Division II. They are 10-1 overall. They're a team that puts the puck in the net. This is offensive hockey, especially in this first line for Harwood. They're coming off a 4-1 win over Burton, and that one a couple of goals from Griffin Nelson. Eli Harrington had a goal and a couple of assists. Luke LaCroix had a goal in that one. Looking at some of these numbers from Harwood, I did a little research last night. Harrington, 24 goals. So this is a season so far. Harrington, 24 goals, 24 assists, 46 points. That has to lead the state of Vermont in scoring. They pile up the goals in Division I, but it's not only Eli Harrington. Griffin Nelson, 12 goals, 31 assists for 43 points. Milo Lavitt, 16 goals. Owen Farr with 6, and Cooper Brow with 6. This Harwood team can put the puck in the net for the Crimson Tide. It's kind of weird when they play here at the Barry BOR. They struggle to score. Crimson Tide goes on the road, and they pile up the goals. Let's take a look at Harwood. That top line is centered by number 17, Eli Harrington. Skates with number 11, Griffin Nelson, and number 25, Milo Lavitt. You talk to coaches around the state, and most coaches agree that that's the best single line in Vermont high school hockey. That top unit for Harwood. Second unit is centered by number 7, Jack Sherman, with number 15, Cooper Brow, and number 10, Luke LaCroix. Third unit is centered by number 4, Sam Pashby, with number 13, Lucas Austin, and number 22, Taj Fairchild. Defensive pairings for Harwood, number 5, Caleb Vassar skates with number 24, Bridger Lillard. Number 16, Owen Farr skates with number 2, Chase Ladabouche, and in net is number 29, Andrew Achilles. For the Spaulding Crimson Tide, I do have their top line. They've been juggling lines up this season. I don't have anything above their top line, but it'll be centered by Eli Feldman with number 7, Clayton Bell. Feldman wears number 17. Bell is number 7. And Drew LaPrade, coming off the hat trick against BFA, wears number 5. Number 10 defensive pairings is Ace McRitchie back in the lineup with number 24, Parker Harrington. And in net for the Spaulding Crimson Tide is Ethan Fortin. As we're going to take you down to ice level, Andrew Achilles skates out. We get the rest of your starters.
At defense, a junior, number 24, Bridger Lillard. At center, a senior, number 17, Eli Harrington. At left wing, a senior, number 25, Milo Lavitt. At right wing, a junior, number 11, Griffin Nelson. And the rest of the Highlanders, who are coached by Matt McNoy and assisted by Ethan Vassar and Keith LaCroix. Now for your Crimson Tide. At goal, a senior, number 1, Ethan Fortin. At defense, a junior, number 10, Ace McRitchie. At defense, a senior number 24, Harwood. At center, a freshman, number 17, Eli Feldman. At left wing, a senior, number 5, Drew McGrath. At right wing, a sophomore, number 7, Clayton Bell. And the rest of the Crimson Tide, who are coached by Brad Spaulding, Leon Ryan, and Connor Cameron. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise, remove your hats, and direct your attention towards the American flag for tonight's national anthem.
With the playing of our national anthem, getting ready to face it off. High school hockey action for you on cbtsport.net. Spaulding Crimson Tide taking on the Harwood Highlanders as the Highlanders meet around their starting goaltender, Andrew Achilles, and the Crimson Tide around number 1, Ethan Fortin. Records coming into this one, Harwood 10-1. The only loss was a loss at the Central Vermont Civic Center to the U32 Raiders, a game that Harwood was up in that game. U32 came from behind to top the Highlanders in the first battle of the top two teams in Division II, but those two teams will play again later on this season. For the Crimson Tide, they come in at 7-3-1 overall. As we mentioned in the open, they're coming off their biggest win of the season, that 2-goal victory over BFA. The Crimson Tide do get their top defenseman back in the lineup for this one. Ace McRitchie was out for a number of games. McRitchie back in the lineup for the Crimson Tide. The Burlington Free Press did a cool article about the 12 players in the state that have the best shots, and 2 of them are on the ice here. Harwood's Eli Harrington, according to his coach, he knows he can put the puck in the net. Obviously, the quote here is he has a snapshot, I would say, is the best I've seen from a high school player. That's according to Matt McGonis, the head coach for Harwood, on Eli Harrington with 24 goals. And Spaulding's Ace McRitchie making the list of best shots in the state, according to Brad Spaulding, the Crimson Tide head coach. He's really able to drive the puck. It all starts with a good baseline. He's the total package when it comes to shooting. And when he finds the net, he buries it. The 2 are out on the ice right now. Harrington to take the draw against Eli Feldman, and we are underway. Vassar fires it down into the Crimson Tide zone. Here's McRitchie in the corner, battling with Griffin Nelson. Puck goes over into the near side. Puck is kept in at the point, fired down by Caleb Vassar, quickly covered up by the Crimson Tide. Just underway high school hockey action on cbtsport.net. This faceoff win won by the Crimson Tide. Bell tries to split the defense. Fired back down by Vassar. Harrington goes around the boards, looks for LaPrade. Here's LaPrade. for Clayton Bell. Had a beautiful goal in the BFA game. That puck was tipped away as he was heading in toward the front of the net. This is going to be an end-to-end game. Here's Harrington. Harrington centers it, but there's no one there. Long slap shot deflected up high and covered up. Lavitt lets that one go. Both teams will change things up. Jack Sherman takes the draw for Harwood. Camden Eckhart is dragged down. Now there's Arsenault over to Eckhart. There's Caswell. Caswell cross-ice pass looking for Gabe Van Orman. Van Orman in the corner. Van Orman with a shot. Achilles comes up with the save. Crimson Tide with a quick shot. Harwood will break the other way. Luke LaCroix goes over center ice. And the Crimson Tide making a quick trip to the penalty box. That dangerous Harwood power play is going to be in action early as Gabe Van Orman goes for the Crimson Tide. Not sure if they got him for a slash. We'll get the call on that, but in the meantime, Lavitt takes the draw as they change things around a little bit on the power play. Harrington actually goes back to play the point. Puck is in the corner. Brow tries to center it. Now here's Harrington. Lavitt works it over to Nelson. Nelson down low. It's Brow in the corner. Crimson Tide try to chip it out. Lavitt over to Nelson for a slap shot and a save by Ethan Fortin. Good puck movement for the Highlanders, but they're unable to get that puck toward the front of the net. Milo Lavitt to take the draw. Wins it right back to Harrington. They circle around. Brow over to Harrington. Cross-ice pass over to Nelson. Centering pass knocked down by the Crimson Tide, and they're able to clear it out. Of course, Harwood won it all last season in Division II, and they returned the bulk of their squad. Almost all their players came back except one that transferred out. Here's Eli Harrington. That shot is blocked on the way in. Isaac Sweet tries to get it out. It's kept in by Nelson. Nelson over to Harrington. Back to Nelson. Nelson, quick, low shot. Ethan Fortin with the save. No rebound with a lot of traffic in front of the net for the Highlanders. 46 seconds to go on the penalty to the Crimson Tide's Van Orman. Harrington over to Brow. Shot, that one goes off Fortin. And it's going to be chipped out of play. .36 seconds to go on the Harwood Highlander power play. Crimson Tide will change things up. They'll bring out Feldman with Bell and LaPrade. LaPrade on the draw with Nelson. That one deflects high off the stick of Bell, gets out of the zone. Here's Harrington. Plays the point on the power play. Here's some open ice for Griffin Nelson. Nelson splits the D, but the puck is tipped away, but Harrington follows up. Puck is toward the front of the net. Crimson Tide unable to get it out. Good job there by Nelson to keep it in. Just a few seconds remaining on the power play. Here's Harrington with the snapshot, goes just up over the net. Penalized player is back in on a beautiful setup there. That time they were looking for Cooper Brow. Highlanders just miss out. Crimson Tide able to kill off that early power play. You could see Brow not happy with himself as he heads back to the bench. Sherman on the draw, goes back to the point for a shot. That shot by Caleb Vassar would have been wide, but just barely. Gloved by Ethan Fortin. These two teams met back at the Ice Center of Washington County, and it was a 4-0 Harwood victory. That was back, I think, around Christmas time. Crimson Tide were in that game, but they did give up, I think, 3 third-period goals, and Fortin had something like 60 saves in that game at Harwood. Here's Eckhart around the boards. Crimson Tide working hard. Bell in the corner. Bell still has the puck on the stick, taken right back, though, and fired down low by Luke LaCroix. LaCroix in the corner now goes back to the point for a quick shot. Is blocked on the way in. Crimson Tide will try to clear it out, and they do. Here's LaPrade to Bell. Bell rifles a wrist shot high off the glass. LaCroix and LaPrade in the corner. Centering pass. Sweet comes in, but unable to get the shot off is Isaac Sweet for the Crimson Tide. That was their best chance. Now going the other way. Here's Nelson with Harrington. Nelson centers it to Harrington, who puts it in the empty corner, and the Highlanders are on the scoreboard. They can move up and down the ice quickly, and you saw it right there. Eli Harrington gets his 25th of the season from Griffin Nelson. That comes at the 10:25 mark. Crimson Tide will play from behind as that is fired just into the bench. We pick up your official announcement. Quick follow-up shot is just wide of the net, let go by Nelson. And the Crimson Tide will bank it off the blast, go the other way. Sweet keeps it in for the Crimson Tide. Taken right back, and here comes Nelson. Nelson over the blue line with speed. Cuts it off over to Harrington for the quick snap shot, deflected wide. Nelson in back of the net. McRitchie gets it over, tries to start the breakout. It's going to go on the stick, though, of Lavitt. Lavitt will fire it back in. Here's Harrington to Sweet. Looking for Feldman. Bouncing puck. LaPrade will try to pick it up. LaPrade on sides for the Crimson Tide. Tried to get that over to Feldman. Puck is going to be cleared out. Now here's Bell. Bell tries to cut through the center of the ice. The puck is stripped away, but he keeps it on his stick. Stick handles around a couple of players. And this is one where Fortin was thinking of coming out. Uses the pad and makes a great save on LaCroix. Chose to stay in the net, and it was the right decision for the Crimson Tide. A lot of speed off this Harwood squad as LaCroix fires it down low. Gets it over to Brow. It's going to be cleared back out by the Crimson Tide. Lillard now starts the breakout pass over to LaCroix. Here's McRitchie. Bouncing passes over the stick of Caswell. Caswell skates into the zone. Lillard fires it back out. Puck is on the stick of Van Orman as he collides with Vassar. This is Bridger Lillard in his own zone. Was doing the pass off the boards, was looking for Griffin Nelson. That's going to be icing. High school hockey action on CBTsport.net. If you weren't with us for the girls game that Spaulding won over Hartford 3-0, you can obviously see the Crimson Tide are wearing the pink jerseys. It's the Pink the Rink event to benefit the American Cancer Society and everything they do with their programs and their care And we've had a lot of special donations this game. Raffles, you name it. Silent auctions and a bake sale taking place. Nifty pass coming in, trying to cut wide, forced over into the corner, and the puck is cleared out. As Milo Lavitt did a nice setup there for Griffin Nelson. Now the Crimson Tide will break the other way. Parker Harrington, who scored a big goal in the last home game, gets a shot on net. Achilles comes up with the save. Pass over to Drew LaPrade. Will go down into the Highlander zone. Breaking wide is Nelson. Nelson comes in with a snapshot, saved by the Crimson Tide's Ethan Fortin. Nelson in the corner going around the boards. Harrington's pass knocked down by LaPrade. Eli Harrington picks up the puck again. Forward with good size. Nice stick-handling move. Tries to do a backhander in. Puck was deflected wide. And cutting the angle out, you could see that Nelson was trying to center that pass over to Cooper Brow, who was set up in front of the net. Face-off win by the Highlanders. Vassar fires it in, but it's blocked by the Crimson Tide. And I think Van Orman's going for a trip for the Spaulding Crimson Tide, or maybe, nope, wasn't, misread the signal. Caswell lets a shot go. It's just wide of the net. Caswell again tried to center that one over to Van Orman. Shot is up high, deflects off Achilles and goes wide. And it's going to be cleared back out. Eckhart fires it in, and breaking the other way is Bridger Lillard. Crimson Tide had Bell, actually had Feldman floated by the defense. Feldman's in back of the net, was ridden up against the boards though. Crimson Tide keep it in the zone. There's LaPrade, a snapshot, saved by Achilles. Rebound was sitting there for a split second. Crimson Tide again, trying to do a turnaround shot is Bell. Banks off the boards, and breaking the other way is Fairchild. Fairchild dances around one player, but the puck is taken away by the Crimson Tide. Here's McRitchie, who missed a few games with a shoulder injury, but back in the lineup tonight. Puck is thrown in by Sam Pashby, covered up by Ethan Fortin. Just one goal so far in this game. Came at the 10:25 mark. Eli Feldman on a setup by Griffin Nelson. Eli Harrington, I think I should say. Harrington now in his own zone. Bouncing pass to Nelson. Now there's Lavitt trying to get around the defender. Here's a shot saved by Fortin. Lavitt in back of the net to Nelson. Nelson comes out of the corner, lets a shot go. Fortin gets a stick on that. Nelson tries to set up Ladabouche. And a quick glove save. Tide will go back to their top line. The two 17s will draw it off. That is Feldman and Harrington. That shot didn't miss by much. Letting it go from the point was Milo Lavitt. Harrington keeps it in the zone. He will circle. Lavitt still with it, works it down low to Nelson. Working the puck around the corner, that's Owen Farr. Now Farr with the puck. Puck gets deflected away by Camden Eckhart. It's going to be cleared out of the zone. Teams will chase for it. Bell gets to it first. Bell tries to cut into the zone, had LaPrade just ahead of him. Couldn't quite connect on the pass. Harrington fires it down, taken right back by the Crimson Tide. Here's Arsenal. Arsenal gets it over to Van Orman. Crimson Tide, nice breakout into the zone. Caswell in back of the net. Caswell centers it to Van Orman with a chance, and he scores! Elliot Caswell sends it out front, and Gabe Van Orman buries it for the Crimson Tide. You check it out on our cbtsport.net. Instant replay, and it's knotted up at 1. It'll be Van Orman from Caswell. 3:02 mark of the period, tying it at 1. Highlanders break the other way. Here's Milo Lavitt in the corner. Here comes the Crimson Tide throwing it into the zone. Is Caswell. 3-minute mark of the first period. Here's Eckhart. Eckhart had LaPrade. Goes off his stick, goes into the zone. Lillard, though, starts the breakout for Harwood. Bell blocks that pass. Looking for Bell on that one. It goes off the stick. And coming in is LaPrade, and he buries it. Top corner, Drew LaPrade. Bar down for the Crimson Tide. And they get 2 quick ones, and they take a 2-1 lead. LaPrade coming off the hat trick against BFA takes advantage of a scoring opportunity. That was a pretty goal for the Crimson Tide. .40 seconds apart. They get a couple, and they take a 2-1 lead on the Drew LaPrade score. Here's Griffin Nelson. He cuts through. Nelson follow-up shot and a save there by Fortin. Now another chance. Puck is taken away from Nelson. Here's LaPrade. LaPrade using some speed to get into the zone. Harwood looking to take advantage of a changeup. Milo Lavitt fires it toward the front of the net. Ethan Fortin with the save. 2:07 to go first period. Tide lead at 2-1. Here's Harrington, goes back to the point to Farr. Here's Harrington, sizes things up. Harrington cuts through. Caswell's going to go for a trip, though, as Eli Harrington was breaking into the zone. Harwood gets their second power play opportunity of the game on the tripping penalty to the Northfield Marauder playing for the Spaulding Crimson Tide, Elliot Caswell. Spaulding is a co-op team. Not a lot of Northfield players on this squad, but there's a few. Here comes Drew LaPrade with Feldman. Deflected over into the corner. Feldman gets it and fires it down low. Harrington, who plays point on the power play, will bring it up for Harwood. Nice pass over to Nelson. Nelson goes back to the point to Farr. Farr hesitates. Now they go back to the point to Harrington. Snapshot from Nelson. Glove save by Ethan Fortin. 1:22 to go in the power play. 1:11 to go first period. Milo Lavitt to take the draw. Had a couple of goals in their last game. Draws it back. It's going to stay right along the blue line, I assume. That's out of our vision. Here come the Crimson Tide. Feldman comes in. Pad save by Achilles. And I don't know if we're going to see Feldman was mixing it up if they're going to take both. Or they're going to just take one. They are going to take... No, it looks like it's going to be on Brow. I think Brow's going to go for a slash with 53 seconds to go. Four-on-four hockey. 50 seconds to go. Nelson, cross-ice pass over to Lavitt. Lavitt has a player rushing toward the slot area for the redirect. That was Owen Farr. And Fortin comes up with the save. It's 4-on-4, so the Highlanders will have to get the extra player off. Here's Caleb Vassar for the Highlanders. Drops it back to Eli Harrington. Harrington out of the zone. Plenty of ice. Now he hesitates. Here's Eckhart. Crimson Tide will break the other way. Eckhart with Van Orman, who has a goal in this game. Now here's Harrington. Has Lavitt with him. His shot deflected over into the corner. Tries to get a shoulder up on the Crimson Tide. Harrington, one of the bigger players out there. And the period comes to a close. Crimson Tide get a couple of goals in a 40-second span late in the first period. One from Gabe Van Orman and the other from Drew LaPrade. And they take a 2-1 lead on the Harwood Highlanders. The Highlanders opening the scoring on a goal from Eli Harrington. After one period of play, Crimson Tide lead up by a score of 2-1. It's high school hockey action on cbtsport.net and cbtv723.org. We'll take a break and we'll come back with second period action very shortly.
Spaulding and U32 boys and girls hockey is made possible by the Auto Clinic, quality automotive sales and service, towing and recovery. 929 Southbury Road, 802-476-5379.
At Cody Chevrolet Cadillac, scheduling service for your car has never been easier. Just go to codychevrolet.com and schedule an appointment right from your phone, tablet, or computer. It's super convenient, as is our drive-in, drop-off location. Just pull up, drive in, and one of our friendly service advisors will be there to help. You can wait, or we can set you up with a loaner car and send you on your way. Chevrolet certified service is convenient and easy. At Cody Chevrolet Cadillac. Chevrolet, find new roads.
Spaulding U32 and Harwood hockey are made possible by Keith LaCroix of Edward Jones. Located on One Conti Circle, Suite 2 in Barrie, Vermont, 802-479-3190, edwardjones.com. A member SIPC financial advisor, a proud supporter of local high school hockey and athletics on cvtsport.net. U32 and Spaulding High School hockey live stream video is made possible by Yankee Wine and Spirits on Main Street in Montpelier, Vermont. They're a proud supporter of their community and high school hockey and athletics. And by J.A. Gould Plumbing and Heating Repair, commercial and residential plumbing and heating service, installation, and repair throughout Central Vermont, where customer satisfaction is their number one priority. 802-476-6974. And by Northern Basement Systems, proudly serving Vermont, New York, and New Hampshire, including Keene, Concord, Burlington, and Central Vermont. They specialize in basement waterproofing, commercial concrete leveling, crack repairs, crawl space repair, foundation repair, insulation, sump pumps, all things basement-y. Free estimates. Call them at 855-379-8463. That's 855-DRY-TIME. And by the Passumpsic Bank. The game is made possible by the Passumpsic Bank, helping people, businesses, and communities thrive. Start your adventure with a Bank of the Wild, Passumpsic Bank. And by Always On Time Signs and Design, a full-service sign shop that manufactures signs of all kinds, banners, and vehicle graphics, located in Berlin, Vermont. Contact them at sales@worksafetci.com or call 802-223-8948.
Save big and get job ready with a free college degree. If your household income is under $100,000, you are eligible for free tuition and fees at the Community College of Vermont. 802 Opportunity is available to new or returning students of any age who do not already have a bachelor's degree. Up to 70% of Vermont households are eligible. Join us this fall and discover all that CCV has to offer. Visit ccv.edu/802 to apply.
Why does a community bank matter? We're trying to help people find a way to make their lives better, their children's lives better, their grandchildren's lives better. People still want to be able to walk into the bank. It's really important to know that your branch is around the corner when you have real problems. We can absolutely be a billion-dollar bank and still care about our individual clients. It's your money. You worked really hard for it, and we take it very seriously.
This game is made possible by CVTV723.org. If you want to support live-streamed Spaulding High School sports, please go to CVTV723.org and look for the Donate Now tab.
This game is also made possible by Vermont Fellowship of Christian Athletes, established in 1954, a community working to see the world transformed by Jesus Christ through the influence of coaches and athletes. You can find more information at fcavermont.org, and you can contact them by email at glennolson@fca.org.
Tournament Specialties is a proud sponsor of Central Vermont sports. If you are in need of decorated apparel such as t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, or outerwear, look no further. Tournament Specialties is located in Barrie and would love to work with you on taking your design to the next level. In addition to their embroidery and printing services, they now have a laser etching system that allows for custom etching on drinkware, leather, patches for caps, and other etching needs. Jeff would also be happy to discuss custom online storefront options for your organization. If you are looking for a creative way to fundraise, this has proven to work very well for many local teams and organizations. To learn more, email Jeff at tournamentdesigns@gmail.com.
From the Barry BOR, we are back getting ready for the second period. Spaulding Crimson Tide and the Harwood Highlanders. An exciting first period. Crimson Tide lead this by a score of 2-1. Harwood got on the board first, came at the 10:25 mark. A goal by Eli Harrington from Griffin Nelson. Then the Crimson Tide put up 2 goals in a 40-second span. First of all, they tied things up at the 3:02 mark. It was Gabe Van Orman from Elliott Caswell. And then it was Drew LaPrade. So far, a goal of the game. Beautiful shot as LaPrade went just under the bar as he broke in. Pretty goal for the Crimson Tide. Gives them the 2-1 lead. Teams are back out on the ice getting ready for the second period. It's still 4-on-4 for about 10 seconds. Then the Crimson Tide will get a short power play. This is Ace McRitchie. Here comes Bell, goes off his stick, corrals the puck. Bell along the boards. Crimson Tide now on a power play for 48 seconds. Highlanders able to clear it out. Harwood has gone 0 for 2 on the power play. This is the first opportunity for the Crimson Tide. Open ice here for Bell. Bell tries to cut through 2 defenders. Harrington gets a stick on it, clears it out. Here's a bouncing puck to Nelson. Nelson shorthanded. Saved there by Fortin. 22 to go in the power play. Here comes Feldman. The freshman Eli Feldman skates it into the zone. Feldman looking for Caswell. It's going to be kept in at the point. McRitchie with a shot. That's rifled wide. Now here's McRitchie. Goes back to Harrington. Harrington looking for Sweet. That'll be icing on the Crimson Tide. Penalized player is back on. We'll play 5-on-5 hockey. 13:51 to go, second period. Tied up 2-1. Harwood only 1 loss this season. That was to the U32 Raiders. Falling down, but trying to backhand that puck in was Brow. Here comes Caswell. Elliott Caswell in the corner. He has an assist on that second Spaulding Crimson Tide goal. This is a telegraphed pass, a giveaway, but blocked by Eckhart. Letting that shot go with Sherman, the second line center. Puck is pounded in by Lillard. Here's Arsenal going around the boards, looking for Clayton Bell. Bell gets it over to Sweet. Bell ridden into the boards. Eckhart now around the boards. It's going to bounce out. Eludes Sweet. Puck is picked up by LaCroix. Fired back down deep. Almost stolen away by Harrington. Now the Crimson Tide will break the other way. LaPrade gets it over to Feldman. Feldman's shot is wide. Almost went off the stick of Achilles. Right on to Bell, who was breaking in on net. Now Harrington tries to do a back pass. There's nobody there. Parker Harrington with it in back of the net. Gets it over to Ace McRitchie. Kept in, though, by Nelson. Nelson centers it. Nobody there, though, for the Crimson, for the Harwood Highlanders. Puck goes just off the stick of Feldman. Feldman keeps it in the zone. Van Orman uses his reach to get to the puck. Nice crisp pass over to Eli Harrington. He is over the blue line, cuts through one defender, comes in, centers it for a shot, and deflected wide. Owen Fire lets one go. Now here's Harrington, dangles around the front of the net, but can't get the shot off. Big pressure here by Harwood. Nelson with the puck, and something going on away from the puck. Oh, the net was knocked off the moorings, apparently, as Harrington did a beautiful move in front of the net. Don't know if, I guess we did catch that one on the replay. but did not get the shot off. Milo Lavitt on the draw. That's going to be deflected up into the netting from Owen Farr. Here's Lavitt on the draw. Harrington picks it up. Snapshot. Boy, that got by there quick. Put a lot on it. Didn't seem like there was much effort. Now a centering pass. Here's Harrington. Drags the puck around, but does not get the shot off as he had open room. And the Crimson Tide able to clear it out. Harwood coming right back at it. They've come out in the second period with a burst of energy. Now Harrington was trying to get that pass over to Farr. Crimson Tide will break the other way. Bell can't corral that pass. It's going to go into the zone. Fisk will fire it out. Now Eckhart will go back. This will go over to Tanner Arsenault. Bouncing puck picked up by the Crimson Tide. They'll fire it down into the Highlander zone. Here is Vassar. Nice tip pass. This is Brow. Cooper Brow. One defender back. Shot is fired wide. Puck is pounded back down by Lillard. Vassar has it go off his stick, and here's LaPrade in clean, and a save by Achilles. Drew LaPrade picks up that puck, and as you can see in our CVTsport.net instant replay, he comes in clean. Achilles covers the angle and makes the save. And right after it, Bell is going for, looks like a slashing call. Clayton Bell going into the penalty box, not happy about it for the Crimson Tide. The Highlanders get their third power play. And a team with this much skill on a top power play, top line unit, you're just asking for disaster against the Highlanders, who've been piling up goals this season. Lavitt will take the draw. Here's Harrington. Brow centers it back to Harrington. Looking for Nelson. It's going to be cleared out by the Crimson Tide. Caswell chasing with Harrington. Harrington has a little size on Caswell, is able to clear that puck around. Dragged down as he skates into the zone was Nelson. Nelson puts a shoulder into Caswell. There's no call there. And the Crimson Tide are able to clear it out. Harwood does look a little jumbled, though, on this power play. Crimson Tide have killed the first 115. Harrington goes over to Milo Lavitt. Lavitt drops it back to the point to Farr. Here's Harrington. He'll circle. Works a puck over to Brow. Brow around the boards was looking to go to Farr. Cooper Brow hangs on to the puck. Now to Nelson. Lavitt gets there, back to Nelson. 36 to go on the power play. Here's Harrington at the point. Here's that snapshot, goes off the glove of Fortin. Crimson Tide are able to clear it out as Highlanders are going to have to clear the zone. 21 to go on the power play. Here's Harrington. He's over the blue line, couple of defenders back. He will take it back to the point. Nelson for a shot. Player in front of Brow for the redirect. Puck is again centered. Penalized player Bell is back on for the Crimson Tide, and Ethan Fortin is able to gobble up the puck. Crimson Tide have killed off 3 Harwood power plays. First half, Harwood didn't have much in the power play, but the last 40 seconds, They control the puck in the tied zone. Now a turnaround shot, and letting that go is Sherman. Here's Eckhart off the boards. Feldman now, or actually LaPrade was looking for Bell. It won't be icing. Bell in back of the net. LaCroix now in the corner. Gets it over to Vassar, taken away by the Crimson Tide. Tide go back to Tanner. Arsenault looking for a redirect at Clayton Bell with the stick up high. Now Arsenault again goes off the boards. Achilles will stop the puck. Here's Vassar. Eckhart will fire the puck back down. Tide trying to do a touch pass. Caswell, nice pass over. Bell misfires on the shot, comes in again, and Achilles has the angle and makes the save. The misfired shot actually worked, it looked like, in favor of Bell because he came in with a better scoring opportunity, but just missed as Andrew Achilles, twice this period, he's covered his angles well. That is going to be tipped out of the zone. Here's Harrington. Here's McRitchie. The defenseman is going to rush it. It's knocked off his stick, though, as McRitchie was getting ready to shoot. Farr got a stick in there. Now Sweet trying to draw it back. Isaac Sweet shot is wide of the net. Here's Harrington. Parker Harrington looking for Feldman. Feldman backhands it in the zone. Then Ladabouche works it back out. Highlanders break into the zone. Here's Austin. Austin comes in and rifles a shot. That was a nice look for the Highlanders. Harrington will try to clear the puck around. Feldman says, let's go back in our zone and set something up again. Here's McRitchie. Ace McRitchie with some time to break it out. Gets it over to Eli Feldman. Gets around Harrington. Feldman comes in. Shot is partially blocked. He'll go dig it out of the corner. Gets position. Harrington, though, takes the puck away. Harrington shot. Saved, but it deflects right out to Milo Lavitt. Crimson Tide trying to clear that puck away, and almost a catch by the staff here. I think I would have caught that. There was a little downward movement on the puck. For those of you that don't know, we're behind a glass, okay? So it's not like I was getting ready to duck. Good job by our mic there and our cameraman, Ben Brown, picking up the sound of that. The sound of the hockey game on CVTsport.net. Here comes Harrington again. Pad save by Fortin on that quick shot. Here's Lavitt with a shot. And Ethan Fortin with the glove. Shot count is piling up for the Harwood Highlanders. But so far, only one to show for this game. Lavitt wins the draw. Here's Vassar. That caught a piece of the netting, even though it banged off the glass. Exactly 5 minutes to go in the second period. Harrington on the draw. Arsenault will get the puck out as it deflects off Lillard. Here's Vassar. We'll circle back. He'll look for Lavitt. Lavitt, nice pass over to Harrington. Eli Harrington, blue line, cuts toward the front of the net, drops it off to Nelson, and they don't connect. Would have been a beautiful play, and Van Orman goes the other way. Achilles will use the pad and knock it into the glass, and here comes Harwood again. Cutting into the zone, trying to center it to Harrington, loose in front. Harrington with a second chance, and Fortin comes up with the save with Griffin Nelson right in the slot area. Cooper Brow to take the draw. Good chunk of the second period has been played in the Crimson Tide zone. Here's LaPrade looking for Feldman, was looking for Bell. It's going to be taken right back. Here's a break. Cutting toward the front of the net. Brow has a chance, and a save there by Fortin. Here's Cooper Brow again, right in front of the net, and it's knocked off the moorings, as this time he had LaCroix. Nice move there by Cooper Brow, the sophomore, for a scoring opportunity with LaCroix on the doorstep. Ethan Fortin strong between the pipes and busy, definitely in the second period for the Spaulding Crimson Tide. 3:44 to go in period number 2. Tide lead at 2-1. Two quickies late in the end of the first period after the Highlanders opened the scoring. Face-off win. Harrington goes back to Lavitt. Second chance glove save, but there's a rebound in front. It's going to be cleared out of the zone. Lavitt finds Harrington. Harrington's shot is wide of the net. Tide will clear it out of the zone. Now here's Harrington again. Parker Harrington will work it out for the Crimson Tide. Parker Harrington and Eli Harrington in the corner. Pass goes around over to the Crimson Tide's Bell. Bell was almost held as he skates out of the zone. He wasn't held, but we do have a Harwood player down. So we'll have a quick stoppage of play with 2:58 to go in the second period. We will take a break. It is high school hockey action for you on cvtsport.net and cvtv723.org. We'll take a break and we'll be back in just a few moments.
Spaulding U32 and Harwood Hockey are made possible by Keith LaCroix of Edward Jones. Located on One Conti Circle, Suite 2 in Barre, Vermont, 802-479-3190, edwardjones.com. A member SIPC financial advisor, a proud supporter of local high school hockey and athletics on cvtsport.net.
Players ready to face it off at center ice. The injured player Eli Harrington has skated off. Just checking with the Spaulding trainer. .253 to go. Crimson Tide lead at 2-1. Harwood, though, has been spending a lot of time in the Tide zone. Here's McRitchie against the boards. Griffin Nelson touches up on the puck. And now we got some pushing and shoving taking place. Ace McRitchie shoving, I think it was Milo Lavitt, or it could have been Nelson, or Vassar. But it was Milo Lavitt. They're going to take both of them, though. Lavitt and Ace McRitchie going into the penalty box. With 2:42 to go, we'll play 5-on-5 hockey. I believe it's Lavitt and McRitchie Or are they putting, it's hard to read the signals. It was a rough, I believe. .242 to go. It'll be 5-on-5 hockey. And here come the Crimson Tide. Here's Nelson. Nelson is over the blue line. Nelson with a shot almost used Arsenal, his defender, as kind of a screen. But Fortin saw that all the way and comes up with the save. The Nelson and McRitchie penalties were just 2 for roughing as they mixed it up for a few seconds. Harrington quickly out on the ice after just being down a few moments for that injury. That'll be icing. Harrington skating next to Tanner Arsenault. There's a little size difference between those two players, like about a foot. They say Harrington on skates is about 6'5", maybe, I'm guessing. I think that's what the Free Press quoted in their article. Sweet on the draw with Harrington. Face-off win. Nelson shot is blocked. A lot of pressure here from centered by Nelson. He was looking for Harrington, but the Crimson Tide able to pick up the puck. And Caswell will fire it down. But we will go back into the Crimson Tide zone. In a second period dominated by Harwood, but unable to come up with anything on the scoreboard. Harrington and Sweet again on the draw. Shot is blocked by the Crimson Tide. 3-on-2 for Spaulding. Looking for Van Orman on that pass. Here comes Lavitt over the blue line. Or actually, that was Nelson trying to feed it over to Harrington. Taken right back by Van Orman. Griffin Nelson again over to Harrington. Nelson in back of the net. Harrington works the corner, goes back to the point for a shot from far, loose in front, and a save by Fortin on LaCroix. Now here's Harrington, wide open shot, deflected, I believe, off the goaltender Fortin and went into the crowd. .103 to go. Last 5 minutes has been all Highlanders with pressure. Ethan Fortin has been keeping his team in the game, no doubt. Back to the point and cutting through, and the shot is just wide of the net. That's Owen Farr, and it's going to be cleared out. 49 seconds ago, period. Crimson Tide get it over to Bell. Cutting through is LaPrade. LaPrade was trying to go back to Bell. Arsenault will bank it off the boards. Puck is fired around by Ladabouche. Crimson Tide get a shot on Achilles, who hasn't seen action for a long time. Uses a stick, knocks it into the netting. It'll be Bell to take the draw for the Crimson Tide against Harrington. Lavitt with a pass out to center ice, but right on the stick of McRitchie as he's looking for Nelson. Pass goes over the stick of LaPrade. He would have had a good scoring opportunity. There's Bell. Cross ice, and second period comes to an end. Highlanders had a ton of shots on goal, as we'll get your shot count, but so far Ethan Fortin has stopped all of them. 17-5 the shot count in period number 2, but both teams were blanked in the second period, and after 2 periods of play, the Spaulding Crimson Tide lead Harwood by a score of 2-1. High school hockey action on cbtsport.net and cbtv723.org. Jim Severance alongside with the play-by-play. My producer is Michael Deering, and it's Ben Brown on camera. You can always contact us here at the arena if you'd like a shout out during the broadcast. Maybe you're checking out this game from the Upper Valley, or actually the Mad River Valley is what I meant to say. Harwood's home. If you're checking out our broadcast, didn't want to brave the cold temperatures, you can always send me an email. It is my name, Jim Severance, Severance. That's at iCloud.com. We'll take a break and we will come back with third period action very shortly.
Spaulding and U32 boys and girls hockey is made possible by the Auto Clinic, quality automotive sales and service, towing and recovery. 929 Southbury Road, 802-476-5379.
At Cody Chevrolet Cadillac, scheduling service for your car has never been easier. Just go to codychevrolet.com and schedule an appointment right from your phone, tablet, or computer. It's super convenient, as is our drive-in, drop-off location. Just pull up, drive in, and one of our friendly service advisors will be there to help. You can wait, or we can set you up with a loaner car and send you on your way. Chevrolet certified service is convenient and easy. At Cody Chevrolet Cadillac. Chevrolet, find new roads.
Spaulding U32 and Harwood hockey are made possible by Keith LaCroix of Edward Jones. Located on One Conti Circle, Suite 2 in Barrie, Vermont, 802-479-3190, edwardjones.com. A member SIPC financial advisor, a proud supporter of local high school hockey and athletics on cvtsport.net. U32 and Spaulding High School hockey live stream video is made possible by Yankee Wine and Spirits on Main Street in Montpelier, Vermont. They're a proud supporter of their community and high school hockey and athletics. And by J.A. Gould Plumbing and Heating Repair, commercial and residential plumbing and heating service, installation, and repair throughout Central Vermont, where customer satisfaction is their number one priority. 802-476-6974. And by Northern Basement Systems, proudly serving Vermont, New York, and New Hampshire, including Keene, Concord, Burlington, and Central Vermont. They specialize in basement waterproofing, commercial concrete leveling, crack repairs, crawl space repair, foundation repair, insulation, sump pumps, all things basement-y. Free estimates. Call them at 855-379-8463. That's 855-DRY-TIME. And by the Passumpsic Bank. The game is made possible by the Passumpsic Bank, helping people, businesses, and communities thrive. Start your adventure with a Bank of the Wild, Passumpsic Bank. And by Always On Time Signs and Design, a full-service sign shop that manufactures signs of all kinds, banners, and vehicle graphics, located in Berlin, Vermont. Contact them at sales@worksafetci.com or call 802-223-8948.
Save big and get job ready with a free college degree. If your household income is under $100,000, you are eligible for free tuition and fees at the Community College of Vermont. 802 Opportunity is available to new or returning students of any age who do not already have a bachelor's degree. Up to 70% of Vermont households are eligible. Join us this fall and discover all that CCV has to offer. Visit ccv.edu/802 to apply.
Why does a community bank matter? We're trying to help people find a way to make their lives better, their children's lives better, their grandchildren's lives better. People still want to be able to walk into the bank. It's really important to know that your branch is around the corner when you have real problems. We can absolutely be a billion-dollar bank and still care about our individual clients. It's your money. You worked really hard for it, and we take it very seriously.
This game is made possible by locally owned Packard Fuels. Located in East Montpelier, Vermont, Packard Fuels is a proud and generous supporter of local high school sports and community events. Packard Fuels, your provider of home heating oil and service with a friendly staff that greets you with a smile. Owned by Ellery Packard III, Packard Fuels, 802-262-3835. Packard Fuels, keeping you warm. This game is made possible by CVTV723.org. If you want to support live-streamed Spaulding High School sports, please go to CVTV723.org and look for the Donate Now tab.
This game is also made possible by Vermont Fellowship of Christian Athletes, established in 1954, a community working to see the world transformed by Jesus Christ through the influence of coaches and athletes. You can find more information at fcavermont.org, and you can contact them by email at glennolson@fca.org.
Tournament Specialties is a proud sponsor of Central Vermont sports. If you are in need of decorated apparel such as t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, or outerwear, look no further. Tournament Specialties is located in Barrie and would love to work with you on taking your design to the next level. In addition to their embroidery and printing services, they now have a laser etching system that allows for custom etching on drinkware, leather, patches for caps, and other etching needs. Jeff would also be happy to discuss custom online storefront options for your organization. If you are looking for a creative way to fundraise, this has proven to work very well for many local teams and organizations. To learn more, email Jeff at tournamentdesigns@gmail.com.
From the Barry BOR, you heard the horn. Teams are out on the ice getting ready for third period action. Crimson Tide and the Harwood Highlanders. Spaulding leads it 2-1 after a scoreless second period, where the Highlanders fired 17 shots on the Spaulding Crimson Tide goaltender Ethan Fortin, but he stopped all 17 shots for the game. The Highlanders have 25. Tide have 17. The scoreboard is what counts. Crimson Tide lead at 2-1. Eli Harrington and Eli Feldman on the draw. Milo Lavitt fires it in as he takes a hit from the Crimson Tide's Bell, I believe. Now a centering pass by Harrington is going to deflect out of the zone. Lavitt fires it in. Crimson Tide with time to set up their breakout. LaPrade will tip it in. He'll chase for the puck. Owen Farr in the corner. Here comes Harwood. Here's Nelson. Nelson over the blue line. A couple of times we've seen Harwood do the back pass and it has not worked. That time it doesn't work for Nelson. Harrington cycles the puck around. It's Nelson in the corner, taken away by the Crimson Tide. Spaulding breaks the other way. Sweet going over to LaPrade. Ladabouche goes around the boards, kept in though by Eckhart as he speeds off the bench. Lavitt will golf the puck back out to center ice. Arsenault will throw it back down. Here's Farr. Gets it over to Harrington, over to Nelson. Nelson eludes a couple of players. Nelson comes in over to Harrington, knocked down by the Crimson Tide. And here comes Tanner Arsenault on a break. Puck is tipped away from him. Eckhart in the corner, ridden into the boards. A centering pass and a nice save. Jack Sherman set up in the slot. And Fortin comes up with the save, and that's going to be icing on the Crimson Tide. 13-12 to go. Sherman to take the draw, just had a good scoring opportunity for Harwood. Here comes Clayton Bell, pounces on the puck. He stood up though at center ice. Puck is going to be cleared out, then it's thrown back down by Vassar. Here's McRitchie in back of his net. Sweet trying to tap that pass over. Now the Crimson Tide try to fire it ahead to LaPrade. Achilles will stick it over into the corner. LaPrade and Vassar up against the boards. The Tide stay on the puck. A wraparound. Here's a second chance by the Crimson Tide, and Achilles comes up with the save. Crimson Tide with a scoring opportunity, as you see on our CBTsport.net instant replay. 12:36 to go. Sweet to take the draw for the Crimson Tide against Harrington. Here comes Nelson. Nelson gets it over to Lavitt. Back to Nelson. Nelson stops. Puck goes off his stick. Farr bangs along the boards. Here comes Caswell. Caswell into the zone, into the corner. Caswell ridden up against the boards by Lavitt. Now here comes Milo Lavitt. Drop pass to Harrington. Harrington cuts through the slot area, and the Crimson Tide are able to knock that play down. McRitchie now will retreat in his own zone. Tried to snap a pass off, but it was knocked down. Harrington is in tight, and the Crimson Tide are able to clear it wide. Crimson Tide tapped in by Bell, gets a piece of it. Here's Ladabouche. Off the boards, was looking for Nelson. They don't connect. Here comes Clayton Bell. Bell with LaPrade, tries to dish it over to LaPrade, tipped away. Nelson again over the blue line. Nelson going wide. Nelson tries to center the puck, gets it right on the stick of Owen Farr, and now here comes Clayton Bell the other way, does a toe drag. Bell comes in, and the puck goes through, and there's going to be a penalty on Harwood, tying up Clayton Bell, as Bell did a nifty toe drag move, as you see on our instant replay. And this is going to be the first. The Crimson Tide had a very short power play, but this is going to be their first full 2-minute power play with LaCroix going to the penalty box. Looked like it was a hold on LaCroix on Clayton Bell. Out of the reach of McRitchie. Here's McRitchie. Nifty pass over to Harrington. Harrington into the zone. Tipped away but kept in by Clayton Bell to McRitchie. Over to Harrington. Harrington now goes down low to LaPrade, and the puck is cleared out. That was almost dangerous by Fortin as he cleared it out. 1:21 to go on the Crimson Tide power play. It's Parker Harrington. Works the puck over. Here's Clayton Bell. Snapshot by Feldman, and glove save by Achilles. Highlanders will just change out one player as Milo Lavitt comes in. He will take the draw against Eli Feldman. Short-handed, here's Lavitt. Lavitt with Nelson. And a glove save by Fortin. Just under 10 minutes to go in the third period. 55 to go on the Crimson Tide power play. On the penalty to LaCroix. Face-off win, but that's going to go out of the zone. Owen Farr will rag a little time. He'll bank it off the boards to Nelson. Nelson and Ace McRitchie battling along the boards. Harrington comes in and scoops up the puck. Here's Clayton Bell. Actually, Eli Feldman comes in. Feldman gets a nice shot off, and Achilles makes the save. It's kind of a deceiving shot. LaPrade works it over to Feldman. He tries to center it again. Little pushing in front of the net. 23 to go in the power play. Good crowd coming over from the Mad River Valley today to catch this hockey game. If you've ever been to a game at the Ice Center of Washington County in Waterbury, they always draw good crowds, and their fans travel. Of course, the team is 10-1 also, which certainly helps out. Puck deflects up into the netting, right in front of the Harwood fans. 16 to go in the power play for the Crimson Tide. And a break tipped away at the last second as it looked for a split second like Cooper Brow was going to have a chance. And Cooper Brow is going to come in clean. Brow comes in and fires it wide. Looking behind him is Ethan Fortin. Brow picks up that puck. Penalized player is back on. Ethan Fortin has been on his game, but also Harwood has had a number of good scoring opportunities, and they've misfired on a few of them. Not that play, but there's been some earlier in the game they've just missed. Chances where you thought they may pop the puck in the net. Here's Isaac Sweet. At center ice, two players collide. And if I saw it right, The ref has signaled a trip. It is. So Vassar is going into the box for tripping. Not pleasing a few of the Harwood fans. A couple of players collided at center ice. And the Tide get another power play with 8:51 to go. Farr will fire it around the boards. Fortin will stop it. He's going to come out with Lavitt heading for the puck. Now McRitchie fires it around. There's no one there. Harrington is going to pick up the puck in his own zone. And there's going to be a second Harwood penalty. Wow. Owen Farr is going into the penalty box. That was away from the puck. I didn't catch that one, to be honest. Crimson Tide take a timeout. 8:32 to go in the third period. Crimson Tide will get a two-man advantage. Farr went for cross-checking. That was a call on that. Crimson Tide meeting around head coach Brad Spaulding, who assumed the head coaching job around the Christmas break as Jacob Grout left the program. Of course, Grout was a former coach for Harwood. In fact, he coached Harwood in their D2 championship. I want to say the year 2021, where they defeated Milton. Could have been 22. I think it was 21, though, where Harwood defeated Milton at UVM's Gunderson Fieldhouse. I covered that game for the Barry Montpelier Times-Argus. Breakaway goal by Skylar Platt, and that one gave Harwood the state championship. Crimson Tide, two-man advantage as they skate out. Bringing out the top line, defensive pairing is going to be Harrington and McRitchie. And Harwood able to clear it out of the zone. $1:30 to go in the first penalty. Is McRitchie now will skate it in. Highlanders looking to pounce on the puck, and they can clear it out. Here is Bell for the Crimson Tide. Puck is cleared out by Harwood. Two-man advantage for the Spaulding Crimson Tide. Yet for the first 40 seconds, they've done nothing with it. Now here's Clayton Bell. He'll fire it down low. Harrington's going to get there first, and he will just pound it down. Now here's McRitchie. Gets it over to Bell. Bell skates it in the zone. Now the Crimson Tide will set up. Bell lets a shot go. Two players in front for the redirect. That was Drew LaPrade, and couldn't get the stick on it. 23 seconds to go in the first penalty. Vassar will be back out. Now here's Bell. Bell is over the blue line. Bell drops it back to the point to McRitchie, to Feldman, and it's going to be cleared out. Harwood fans making a ton of noise as Vassar is back out. One-man advantage. Shot is whistled just wide of the net. Parker Harrington will fire it down low. Here comes Griffin Nelson. Nelson speeds into the Crimson Tide zone. Nelson goes wide. He's almost hooked, but he wasn't. Second penalty is over. Harwood does the job, killing off the 5-on-3. Now here's McRitchie in the corner. Good pressure here. Here's Brow with a shot and a save by Fortin on Cooper Brow. Harrington, Lavitt, and Nelson out there. Here's Harrington. His shot is blocked. Here's a second chance shot. Deflected just wide. Harrington and Caswell in the corner. Goes back to the point. Ladabouche with a shot. Griffin Nelson in front for the redirect. And Fortin comes up with the save. Eli Harrington on the draw. Bouncing puck is cleared wide by the Crimson Tide. They will get it back out. Then it is fired back down by Farr. Here's Eckhart in the corner. Picked up by Harrington. Harrington cuts through the slot area. Now Nelson in back of the net tries to feed it back to Lavitt. Harrington with a shot from the point. Puck trickles through the front of the net. And the net is knocked off. .5:27 to go in the third period. And if you're a Crimson Tide fan, that clock is going to go in slow motion. Harrington draws it back. Crimson Tide will be able to clear it over into the corner. Here's Owen Farr. Nelson in back of the net. Shot is deflected into the netting. That time Farr gave it back to Lavitt. Sherman, Brow, and LaCroix come out for the Highlanders. Vassar and Lillard come out on D. Crimson Tide with their top unit. Crimson Tide have a break if they could get it to Parker. Harrington goes off the pad. Harrington with a chance, and covering up the 5-hole was Achilles. Crimson Tide saw that play over center ice. As you see on our replay, they got it to Parker Harrington, but he closed the pads right there and comes up with the save. Exactly 5 to go, third period. Tied up by 1. Drew LaPrade trying to get by Caleb Vassar. They're on a battle. Now here's Bell. Bell drops it back to the point for Harrington. Harrington over to Ace McRitchie. McRitchie is in tight. His shot goes off Achilles. Had LaPrade in front of the net. And that's going to go into the Highlander bench. We've got a long break as far as it goes for Spaulding Crimson Tide hockey on CBTsport.net. It's been a weird season where you go through spells of home games and then none. I don't believe we're back here for a couple of weeks with either boys or girls hockey. I want to say the 11th of February. Here's Camden Eckhart's shot. Had Caswell in front of the net. Here comes Harrington with Nelson. Harrington makes a couple of moves, blocked by Arsenault. Kept in, though. Lavitt with a shot. Through traffic is wide of the net. Puck is gloved down, but it's going to be moved out of the zone for a hand pass. That Harwood is not happy with. Glove down, you got to drop it down immediately and not push it in any motion, side, forward, backwards. And the refs thought that's what Harwood did. Faceoff will be in the Highlander zone. Face-off win trying to rifle that shot off was Eli Feldman. Harrington over to Nelson, back to Harrington, back to Nelson as he cuts in but cannot get the shot off, which has kind of been the story for the Highlanders this game. .356 to go. Crimson Tide up by 1. Harrington draws it back to the point. Shot is blocked by Lavitt. LaPrade will try to clear the puck out of the zone. They had Bell behind the, or actually they had Feldman behind the defense. Highlanders trying to do the same with Nelson, get him behind the D. Now they get it over to Nelson. Drop pass for a one-timer, Harrington, and a save using the stick and into the netting. Nail biter to the end here at the Barrie BOR. .324, we talked about the clock moving slowly. It's going to move even slower as this period goes on. If you're a Tide fan. Here's Eckhart. He will fire it back down. Fire goes around the boards. That's Lillard. Lillard now pass out looking for Brow. Harrington. Pass bounces off the stick of Sweet. Bouncing puck, Crimson Tide, and Caswell with a scoring opportunity. Deflected up high. Tide tried to dig it out in back of the net by McRitchie, who was in deep. Fired back down by Caswell. Here's Vassar. Vassar to Brow. It goes off his stick. McRitchie off the boards. Here's Parker Harrington. Crimson Tide trying to do a drop pass over to Drew LaPrade. That does not connect from Sweet. Now they do get it to LaPrade. LaPrade tries to dance around a player. Taken it right back, though, by Lavitt. Working it down into the zone is Lillard. Defenseman goes all the way in. Crimson Tide trying to get a breakaway pass over to Bell. Bell is in deep. We're under 2 minutes. Bell trying to go back to the point. McRitchie with a shot is just wide of the net. Here comes Nelson. Nelson comes in, tipped away by the Crimson Tide's Arsenal. We're keeping an eye on the Harwood net for Achilles. He's still in the net. Bouncing puck, kept in the zone. Puck rolls around. Here's Nelson in the corner. Nelson tries to center it. Harrington with the puck. Harrington throws it right out front. Crimson Tide are able to clear it out. And here comes LaPrade. Drew LaPrade is in. Shot save Achilles. On Drew LaPrade. Now we're down to a minute. And the goaltender is out. Empty net. Extra attacker comes out. It's Cooper Brow, the extra attackers. Harwood now tries to set things up. They throw it out front to Brow, and a save by Ethan Fortin. Wow. Amazing hockey game here with 46 seconds to go. This is going to be the TO going to the Harwood bench. Harwood able to bring the goaltender Achilles out after he had to make the save on the game is getting so crazy at the end. I think it was Drew LaPrade had a chance to salt that one away for the Crimson Tide. Interesting during this timeout as you take a look at the Spaulding net. Normally what Ethan Fortin does, he's just hanging by himself in the net. He's been busy this one. The Highlanders meeting around Matt McGonis. Their assistant coaches this season, Ethan Vassar and Keith LaCroix. And the Crimson Tide around head coach Brad Spaulding, Liam Guyette, who was a former Harwood Highlander goaltender. Connor Cameron also helping out this season. Here we go, 46 seconds to go. Crimson Tide will break out with their top line, McRitchie and Harrington. That's Parker Harrington on D. And Harwood using their top line, and for the extra player with the goaltender pull, that is Cooper Brow. And they're moving Harrington up on forward as opposed to on defense. Here's Lavitt. Shot is blocked by Bell. There is an empty net. Harwood keeps it in. Harrington to Nelson. Nelson hesitates, has Harrington right out front. Shot is deflected. It goes wide, but goes into the glove of Fortin. 30 seconds to go. The two Elis will draw it off again. Lavitt, but it's cleared out of the zone by the Crimson Tide. 23 to go. Now here's McRitchie. McRitchie is able to get it over to Bell. Bell just wants to get it out of the zone. They don't need the empty net. Puck is stopped 12 seconds ago. Highlanders will have to hurry. Knocked down by the Crimson Tide. Here's Bell with it on his stick. 4 seconds to go. Highlanders, a final shot. Glove save by Fortin. And the Crimson Tide have come away with a victory. And they mob Ethan Fortin. Harwood gave it all they could in this third period. Crimson Tide come away with a 2-1 victory over Harwood. After winning earlier this week against BFA, it was a week for a celebration for the Spaulding Crimson Tide. Before we recap the scoring, now you gotta get these final shots and how many saves that Ethan Fortin had. We'll get that now.
Shots on goal for the third period. Harwood 12, Spaulding 12. For a total Harwood of 37, Spaulding 29.
I'm going to count up the saves here. So we've got 37 or 4. No, they only had 12 shots on goal. They had numerous chances. But I've got 37 shots on goal for Harwood. Nevertheless, the Spaulding Crimson Tide pick up a huge win over the Harwood Highlanders. Yeah, this is not a divisional game. Harwood's a 2, Spaulding's a 1. But Harwood came in 10-1 on the season, and they suffered their second loss of the season. For the Spaulding Crimson Tide, they go to 8-3-1 overall. Recapping the scoring, Harwood got on the scoreboard early. Eli Harrington from Griffin Nelson at the 10:25 mark of the first period made it 1-0. Then the Crimson Tide closed out the second period with a couple of goals. One from Gabe Van Orman from Elliott Caswell. And then the other, which is going to be our CBTsport.net goal of the game, prettiest one of the game. It was the Crimson Tide's Drew LaPrade as he skates in. And you can see where he deposits that puck, upper corner. Beautiful shot by LaPrade. And the Crimson Tide win it by a score of 2-1. As far as our CBTsport.net player of the game, I think it is a no-brainer. I think everyone here in the booth knows that without Ethan Fortin in net for the Crimson Tide, they would not walk away with a 2-1 victory. So congratulations to the Crimson Tide goaltender Ethan Fortin unofficially 37. I think he had more. I didn't actually see the score sheet, so I'll clarify that. But he is our CVTsport.net star of the game. That'll wrap up our broadcast. So the Crimson Tide win both. The girls win the first game 3-0 over Hartford, and the boys win by a score of 2-1 over Harwood in the nightcap. I want to thank our broadcast team, cameraman Ben Brown, and on our producer is Michael Deering. My name is Jim Severance. Thanks for joining us for the broadcast high school hockey on CVTsport.net.
This has been a high school sports video production by CVTsport.net, your local sports video leader. It's also brought to you by CVTV. CVTV723.org.
My daddy made this.